So, welcome to our yoga flow, and we are actually going to start today seated. So, I'm going to head back to my mat and I will meet you on yours. All right, so let's go ahead and get comfortable here. Just sitting up nice and tall in whatever comfortable seated position that is for you. So, we're going to relax the hands. Let's take our shoulders, lift them up towards our ears, roll them down the back. Good. And try to elongate through the spine. So we want to kind of feel nice and grounded through the legs and the sits bones, but also at the same time lifting that energy up. So pulling belly button in towards our spine, relaxing the shoulders. Let's place the hands down on our knees. And let's just gently close the eyes. We're going to begin our practice just by taking some big deep breaths here. Inhaling in through the nose. Exhaling through the nose. And we're beginning this yoga flow practice by flowing with the breath. So really pay attention to how the body is breathing. Inhaling nice and deep into the belly. And exhale, pressing all of that air out. Sometimes we forget that our breathing is automatic and we never really have to think about it. But when we start to pay attention, we can notice little things in the body. We can start to notice if the chest is tight, the shoulders are tight, maybe we're feeling tension in the back or the neck, and we can pay attention. So we'll send the breath to those places that might be feeling a little tight in our body and just allow it to release. Now let's just start with a gentle flow for the head and the neck. We're going to start by turning our head over the right shoulder. So let's just turn our head to the right, come back to center, and then turn our head to the left, and back to center. Let's do that one more time, turning right and center, and then left and center. Good. Now let's go down and up. So we're going to drop the chin towards our chest. And then take that gaze up. So we're being careful not to just throw the head back, but instead thinking about lifting through the chin up towards the sky. And then we'll go ahead and tuck that chin again and lift it up. Good. Let's come back to the center. Now we're going to go side to side, dropping the ear to the shoulder. So we'll drop right ear to the right shoulder. And we're going to pause here for a couple of breaths. Just allow the muscles in the side of the neck to start to soften. And still trying to maintain sitting up nice and tall. We want to be careful not to round and slouch here. Okay, let's come to center and then we'll switch sides. Left ear down to left shoulder. And a couple more breaths here. You can notice how tight the side feels after we finish the other side. And then we're going to move a little bit faster. So let's just gently drop the head down. And back center, and then ear to shoulder and center. One more time on each side. Good, last time. Now right from here, let's just roll the chin towards our chest and kind of just roll circles, like half circles here. Now we're going to try to work from the top down. Kind of get all of the body feeling good, opening up space. Okay, let's come back to center. All right, so we're going to do some work with the shoulder. So let's start by bringing the hands down by our side. We're going to inhale the arms out and up. Scoop up all that energy. And then we're going to turn the palms and press it down. So let's use our breath here. Inhale, sweep everything up. Exhale, press down and away. Okay, one more time. Inhale. And exhale. Good. Now let's open up the shoulders and chest a little bit more. We're going to inhale the arms out and up. On our exhale, we're going to come into like goalpost arms here. Fingers nice and wide. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Really open up the chest. But try not to flare the rib cage out. So we have a tendency we can just kind of push the belly and open everything up. I want you to keep that strength through the core, but instead focusing on shoulders and chest. Good. Now let's flow with our breath. Inhale, lift it up. And exhale, open. Inhale, lift. Exhale, open. Good, one more time. Inhale and exhale. Good, now let's just do some shoulder rotations. Arms are going to come out to the side, and we're going to rotate the palms down and turn them back towards the back of your room, and then turn them back up. And so just kind of trying to find a rotation that feels comfortable here. We might need to bring the arms a little bit more forward. That's okay. And we're trying to be mindful of what our body needs. Good, let's go ahead and release. And we're going to take a little flow side to side, opening up our side body. So let's start by leaning over towards our right side. So we're going to keep that right hand down on the floor. Inhale, reach the left arm up and over. We're keeping both sits bones planted here, so try not to lift up out of your seat. Stay firmly grounded, just like we started the practice. And let's add that head movement here. Let's take that gaze up towards the sky and then down towards the floor. One more time, looking up and looking down. Good, let's come back to center. We're gonna switch sides. So we'll bring that right arm up and over. The left hand is down for support this time. Just lean as far as feels comfortable before we start to lift out of our seat. Relax that top shoulder, and we'll take that gaze again, looking up towards the sky and down towards the floor. Inhale, looking up. Exhale, down. Good, one more time, looking up and down, and we'll come back to center. Good, now let's just flow a little bit more with the breath, side to side movements. So let's inhale, come out and up, over towards that right side, and back to center. Switching sides, inhale up and over, exhale back to center. Good, one more on each side, and center. Last time, and center. Good. All right. So now we're just going to take a little twist side to side. So we went side to side, but we want to twist the spine. So we're trying to get lots of energy into the spine and the back. So we'll inhale the arms out and up. On our exhale, we're going to twist towards the right side. So arms are just going to come on either side of us. And for support, and you can use your knee as a lever here and kind of press against it into the twist. You can take it deeper by coming across the body. Again, we're still warming up, so see what feels best for your body this morning. Good, let's come back to center, reach the arms up. Exhale, let's twist to the opposite side. Good, inhale, center. One more time on each side, twisting to the right. Maybe moving deeper. Inhale, center. We'll twist to the left. Inhale, center. Good. Let's release the hands to the knees. We're going to do a seated cat and cow pose. So now we're going to work the flexion and extension of our spine, and we're going to do that with our seated cat and cow. So we're going to start with our cow pose, where we inhale, and this time it's okay to kind of let the rib cage open. So we're going to lift and open everything here. Take that chin up towards the sky. On our exhale, we're going to sink back a little bit, maybe into the tailbone, kind of rock back. Chin comes towards the chest, pull the belly button in towards the spine. And then again, we'll move with the breath. Inhale, lift and open. Exhale, round and stretch. Inhale, open. Exhale, round and stretch. Good. All right, so now that we've kind of worked our way through the back, we're going to get into the legs and the hips a little bit. So let's come into a tabletop position. We're going to come onto our hands and our knees. Now from here, we're going to do a couple more cat and cow poses just so we can get the hips moving a little more. So we'll inhale, come into our cow pose. Let the belly drop, lifting head, chest, and tailbone. Exhale, round the back, chin towards the chest. And we can add a little movement here. We can move the tail a little bit. Again, we're trying to find space in the body. So this is a perfect time to just invite anything that feels good, any kind of organic movement that your body needs. Good. Let's come back to our tabletop. We're going to start with the legs here. So let's start with the right leg. The right leg is going to come back behind us. Let's keep the toes down on our mat. And we're going to shift our weight back. So as we kind of press that weight back, we're getting a nice stretch to the back of the leg, the calf muscle. Good, and then we're gonna come to center and let's lift that right leg up. So we wanna keep it right in line with our hips, squeezing the core nice and strong. Good, now let's bring that knee in towards our chest, kind of round a little bit like we did in cat pose, and press it out. So exhale as the knee comes in, inhale, extend and press. One more time, knee comes in and press away. Got it, let's go ahead and release. All right, go ahead and shake it out a little bit. We can come off the wrist if we need to for a second, roll the wrists. And we're gonna do the same thing on the opposite side. So left leg will go back. Again, we're gonna keep the toes down to start with. We're gonna press that weight back into the heel. Nice, good stretch for the calf muscle in the back of the leg. Nice, big, deep breath. Good, let's come back to center. Lift that heel right in line with the hips. Again, feel that core working. So pull the belly button in towards the spine. Stay nice and strong in this tabletop position. And then the knee is going to come in. We're going to round the back a bit. Knee comes in as far as we can. And then flex the foot, press it back out. Good. Exhale, knee comes in. Inhale, extend and press. One more time. Exhale, knee to chest. Inhale, extend. Good. Let's go ahead and release. We're going to come into our child's pose. We can open the knees up, sit the hips back to the heels, stretch the arms forward, relax the forehead down. Let's take some big, deep breaths in our child's pose. Really feel the back side of the rib cage expanding. Good. Now we're going to take a little half flow of our sun salutation series here. So we're going to stay from child's pose. We're going to come into a kneeling plank. So let's inhale, come forward. And as we transition to kneeling plank, we want to bring the knees back in line with the hips and take a nice long line from the crown of the head down to the knees. And let's shift back to our child's pose. Inhale again, come forward into that kneeling plank. Now we're tucking the hips here, staying nice and strong in the core. Exhale back. One more time. Inhale forward. And exhale back. Good. Let's add on. We're going to inhale forward. This time we're going to lower ourselves all the way down to our belly. So as we exhale, gently lower. Keep the elbows kind of hugged into the rib cage. Lower ourselves down to our mat. And then we're going to add a little baby cobra here. So light pressure on the hands. We're going to use those back muscles, that whole posterior chain, squeezing the legs, the glutes, and the back. Pressing those shoulders down. Nice big deep breath. And release. All right, here's the hard work. We got to press back into that kneeling plank. So we're going to press down into the hands. Keep the core nice and strong. And if this is too much for us to start with, we can come down to the forearms and walk ourselves back into our child's pose. So we're going to press back into that kneeling plank and then shift back to our child's pose. All right, let's go ahead and move again. Inhale forward. Exhale, lower all the way down. Inhale, lift the chest and shoulders. Exhale, release. Inhale, back to our kneeling plank. Exhale to child's pose. Good, let's do one more. Inhale forward. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift the chest and shoulders. Exhale, release. Inhale, press back into our kneeling plank. Exhale to our child's pose. Good, let's take a second again. We can roll out the wrists a little bit. Shake out the arms. We're going to come into our downward facing dog. Good. So let's keep the arms stretched out nice and far. Let's come into that kneeling plank. We're going to curl the toes under. Lift the hips up and back to our downward facing dog. Now we'll go ahead and pedal the heels a little bit. Move those hips side to side. Get some nice fluid movement going here. But we want to feel that strength. So fingers are spread really wide, pressing into the floor. Pull the shoulder blades down the back. Lift that tailbone up nice and high towards the sky. And to get that flat back, we may need to bend the knees, and that is okay. We're working on pressing the chest back towards the thighs, so we don't want to round up in our downward facing dog. Excellent. Let's go ahead and take that gaze forward. We're going to walk the feet to meet the hands. Maybe we've got to walk those hands back to meet the feet. That's okay too. Let's just kind of shake everything out here. Shake the head yes and no. And we're going to take a nice deep bend to the knees. We're going to come all the way up. Reach the arms up towards the sky. Exhale, float the hands right to heart center. Perfect. All right, we made it to standing, and we are going to work on a flow here with the legs. So we're going to come back into our downward dog. We're going to kind of flow a little bit between some lunges and a warrior sequence. And so we're going to really get into the hips and the legs here. So let's come back up towards the top of our mat. We're going to start with a little flow of chair pose. So from mountain, let's go ahead and inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, sink to chair. Inhale, lift nice and tall. Exhale, sink to chair pose. So we want to keep the weight in the heels when we transition into our chair pose. And then firmly ground through all parts of the feet in that mountain. Okay, one more time. Inhale and exhale. Now we're going to just fold forward here. Straighten the legs, release the hands. Shake the head yes and no. We're going to plant the hands, and we're going to step back with the right leg. So as we step back with that right leg, we're in a lunge position, and we're going to bring ourselves all the way up. So let's walk our hands up. Now we might need to adjust the stance once we get up into our lunge. We can shorten the stance if we need to. I want you to work on driving back through that back heel so we have a nice straight leg in the back. And then we're going to tuck the pelvis. So as we do that, we're really getting into that hip flexor in the right leg. The left knee stays bent, nice and active through the front foot and that front thigh. We might be feeling on fire. Let's bring the hands right to heart center. Good, nice big deep breath. Excellent. Let's go ahead and inhale, sweep those arms up. Exhale, release the hands to the floor. Let's bring that right foot forward to meet the left. And kind of just bend the knees a little bit, move them side to side. Good. Now let's go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. Left leg is going to step back. Find that firm grounding where you are. That front foot's nice and planted. That back foot is strong. And we'll walk ourselves all the way up. Good. And then we'll bring those hands to heart center. So we're just going to get used to these lunges and the alignment and where we want to be in our lunge. And then we're going to start to flow a little bit through this. So again, tuck that pelvis under. Really feel that stretch through the back hip flexor. Let's take one more big deep breath here. Let's inhale, reach those arms up. Exhale, release the hands. Good. Now we're going to go ahead and step back to downward dog. So plant the hands. We'll step back to downward dog. Pedal the heels a little bit. All right. Now from here, we're going to flow with our three-legged dog into our lunge. So we're going to start with our left leg lifting up towards the sky. And then here, we're going to bring that knee in towards our chest, just like we did in our warm-up, except this time we're going to drop that foot between the hands. Now, this may take some practice to get there. That's okay. We're going to inhale, sweep the arms up. Good. Find that strong lunge. Release the shoulders. Nice, big, deep breath. Let's release the hands. And we'll step back to our downward facing dog. Good. And let's do the same thing on the other side. So this time, that right leg will lift towards the sky. We'll bring it all the way through. Find our lunge. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Shoulders relax. Nice big deep breath. And then we'll release. Good. Let's go ahead and step back to our downward dog. Excellent. Let's go ahead and move a little deeper in our lunge. So we're going to go ahead and bring the left leg back up towards the sky. Bring it all the way through. This time we're going to drop the back knee. We're going to come all the way up. Let's start here in a kneeling lunge. Now, I might be thinking, how is this going to go a little bit deeper because we're supported on that back leg? But we're going to sink into our dragon lunge in just a moment. So we're going to relax the shoulders, take a nice big deep breath here. Good. Then we're going to bring both hands down on the inside of that left foot. Walk the left foot towards the edge of our mat, and then we're going to let the hips fall towards the floor. So as we do this, we kind of let the knee fall open. That front knee kind of falls open towards the side. Now, if this is too much, this is too deep, we can back out of it a little bit. But again, our goal is to open up the hip flexor. And you might be feeling it a little bit too in the inner thigh of that front leg. Let's go ahead and shift back. We're going to bring the foot back to center. Split the hands so they're going to come on either side of that front leg. And then we're going to shift those hips back so we straighten out the front leg. We'll lift the toes up towards the sky, get a nice stretch for the back side of the left leg. Let's go ahead and come back to center. One more time, let's sweep those arms up. Shoulders relax. Let's release the hands. We'll bring both hands on the inside so we can easily kind of circle back to our downward facing dog. So we'll bring that leg back, curl the toes, lift the hips up and back. Find our downward dog, pedal the heels a bit. Good. Now let's go ahead and do the same thing on the opposite side. So right leg will lift up towards the sky. Find that lunge position. Bring that foot all the way through. We'll drop down onto the back knee. Walk ourselves all the way up. Find that nice, strong, grounded lunge before we move deeper. Shoulders relaxed. Chest is nice and lifted. Big, deep breath. Okay, we'll bring both hands down to the floor on the inside of that right foot. Walk the right foot out to the edge. And then we're going to let the hips sink towards the floor. Let that knee kind of fall open. Again, really important to breathe here. Breathe through that tension. Again, we never want to feel pain. So if we're feeling any kind of pain, we need to back out of our postures. If we're feeling uncomfortable, that's a different sensation. And I want you to just kind of breathe through it. And then we'll go ahead and shift the hips back. Bring that leg back to center. Arms come around on either side. Leg is going to straighten. We're going to lift those toes up towards the sky. Feel that nice big stretch in the back of the leg. Relax the head and the neck. And let's go ahead and come back to the center. One more time, lift everything up. Shoulders relax. Good. Let's bring the hands down. We're going to circle that right leg back. Let's curl the toes. We're going to come back to our downward facing dog. Pedal those heels. Good. Now one more time we're going to flow here. We're going to go from our lunge into our warrior two. So let's go ahead and start with that left leg lifting up towards the sky. Left foot comes all the way through back to our high lunge. We're going to inhale, lift everything up. Find that high lunge that feels comfortable. Big deep breath here. And then we're going to flow into warrior two. So we're going to turn that back foot, drop the heel down, and open up towards that long edge of the mat. Arms come right to shoulder height. Take that gaze forward. Good. Let's take one big deep breath here. We're going to circle the arms back into our lunge. So we're going to come back onto those back toes. We'll release the hands. Step back to our downward facing dog. Good. Same thing on the other side. We'll lift the right leg up towards the sky. Float it all the way through. Come on up. Find that high lunge position. Again, we might notice one side or the other a little bit more stable, or maybe we're losing our balance. Totally normal. Ooh, there we go. So you have a wall here, thank goodness. Now let's go ahead and drop that back heel, open up into our warrior two. So again, we want to make sure we're kind of pressing open with that right knee. Nice and strong in our warrior two. Okay, let's circle those arms back into our lunge. Come onto those back toes, nice and strong lunge. Release the hands. Step back to our downward dog. Beautiful. Let's go ahead and come into our pigeon pose. So we're going to come from our tabletop position. So let's drop down to the knees. And our pigeon stretch is a really great stretch for the hips. If we're tight in the knees and it's uncomfortable, we can always do this on our back. I'm going to get you into the position here, and then I'll show you the options if you need it. So we're going to start with that left knee. We're going to bring that left knee right behind the left wrist and open that left ankle up towards the right wrist. Now, as we do that, we're going to walk that back leg back and kind of sink into our pigeon. Now, we're going to try to work that front shin kind of parallel towards the short edge of our mat, but as you can see, my shin isn't going to go there. But that's what we're working towards. We want to do that without sinking back or sitting here. You want to stay nice and level in the hips. So again, we can stay right here on the hands. We can come to the forearms. You can release the head all the way down. Now, if this is uncomfortable in this position, we can do the same stretch seated or lying on our back. So I'll show you both options. Seated, we would just have the left ankle cross on top of the right thigh, and we can get that same stretch here. Or we can come down to our back, same position with that left ankle on top of the right thigh and bringing the right knee in towards the chest. All really good options if being down on the knee is not comfortable. So again, figure out where we want to go in our pigeon. We're going to stay here for a couple breaths. And the longer we hold these deeper stretch positions, the more you might start to feel the body sinking into them. Trust it. Trust the process of going deeper in these postures. Sometimes we forget that our bodies are much smarter than we give them credit for. So we're really trying to pay attention in our yoga practices. We're not just trying to go through the motions and get the benefits of a yoga class, but really start to pay attention to what our bodies are needing. And let's come on up. Bring the hands right back underneath the shoulders. We're going to kind of walk that back leg in a little bit, and then we'll slide that left knee back. So back into that tabletop position, just move the hips a little bit, maybe rock forward and back, make circles, whatever feels good. And sometimes it's nice to go back into downward dog and pedal the heels a little bit, or we can stay on the knees and kind of just shake out that leg, get the blood flow going back into that knee that we had under the body. All right, let's do the same thing on the other side. So right knee comes right behind the right wrist, and then we start to walk the ankle towards the left wrist and sink down into our pigeon pose. Now again, you can stay on the hands, come down to the forearms, rest the forehead down, whatever feels comfortable. If you've got blankets or bolsters or blocks, you can always rest on those here. Okay. So you're going to take your time making little adjustments. This is my tighter side, so it takes me a minute to kind of get where I feel like I need to be, and that's totally okay. Nice, big, deep breath. All right, so I can feel myself kind of getting tense. Now this might be happening for you, maybe it's not, but I can sense that these muscles in this side of the leg up into the glutes and the hamstring, they're all just yelling at me right now. They're really tight, and so I want to make sure that I'm breathing into that space. So I'm going to close my eyes and just take some big, deep breaths. Let the muscles start to soften. And naturally, this starts to happen after about 30 seconds. Our muscles realize that it's okay. We're okay to stretch and kind of lengthen. So it's a very normal thing for those first 30 seconds of a stretch to feel tight. So we want to make sure we're breathing. letting the oxygen and the blood flow move to those spaces that we're working. And then maybe after a little bit of time, we'll start to gently feel a release, and you can always move deeper if we need to. Okay, let's take one more big deep breath here. Good, and then we'll go ahead and gently come back up to the hands if we were down. We're gonna walk that back leg in, and we'll shift that right leg back, move those hips, again, shake it out. Whatever we need, maybe coming up into our downward dog, pedaling the heels a bit. Okay, now let's go ahead and sink down to one hip. We're gonna circle the legs all the way around. Good. All right, so from here, we're just gonna do one more opening posture down on our back. So we're gonna come into our bridge pose. So let's go ahead and lay all the way down. We're gonna bring those heels right underneath the knees, arms down by our side. And we're gonna make sure we keep the head still. We're not gonna rock the head side to side. So watch me for the first one if you need to, but we're gonna lift into our bridge pose. So we're gonna press down into the feet and the shoulders, gently lift up the hips off of our mat, pressing those hip points up towards the sky. So I'm just trying to reverse. We're opening up the front side of the body here. Nice big deep breath. And then gently release back down to the floor. Good, we're gonna flow with the breath. So we're gonna do a couple with a flow, and then we'll hold the last one. So let's inhale, lift the hips up into our bridge. Exhale, gently lower those hips down to the floor. Inhale again, lift the hips up towards the sky. Exhale, lower. One more time, inhale, lift. And exhale, lower. We're gonna hold this last one. Inhale, lift everything up. Nice big deep breath. Let's see if we can lift up onto the toes, go a little bit higher, and we'll gently rock down. Now let's bring the arms up into goalpost arms again. We're gonna open the feet a little wider than the hips, and we're just gonna let the knees rock side to side. Flow some windshield wipers here. We did lots of work into the hips. So this might feel really good just to kind of get a little bit more blood flow going. Stretching up into those obliques as well. All right, let's come to center. Give our knees a great big hug. And we'll pull the forehead up towards the knees, curling up as tightly as we can. And then gently release. Let's extend the legs out towards the corners of our mat, arms down by our side. Coming into our Shavasana posture. Our final relaxation where we just get to let everything go. Start to soften all of the muscles through the toes and the feet, the ankles, the calves, the shins and the knees. Let the thighs grow heavy. Feel that gentle rise and fall of our breath as it moves through our belly and our chest. The shoulders melt down into the floor, the arms get heavy, the fingers softly curl in, releasing any tension from the neck, letting the tongue fall away from the roof of the mouth, softening the jaw, softening the corners of the eyes, and then lastly, relaxing the mind. Acknowledging any thoughts, but letting them float away. Our to-do list can wait. Everything can wait. We're here right now. So let's be present with our body and our breath. And just allow ourselves some space to be. And you can stay in this relaxation posture for as long as you'd like. I'm going to move out of it just so we can conclude our practice. But again, stay here if you're comfortable. When you are ready eventually, you can turn to one side and come into a seated position. Relaxing the shoulders, sitting up nice and tall. I like to finish every class with a reading. So our reading for today is about ego. It says, we must go beyond the constant clamor of ego, beyond the tools of logic and reason, to the still, calm place within us, the realm of the soul, from Deepak Chopra. Let's bring the hands together at heart center, breathing into our space in our soul, being connected to our higher purpose, being connected to ourselves by showing up and loving who we are right in this moment. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. Let's take one more big deep breath together, inhaling in peace, joy, and love, and exhaling anything that is no longer serving us. The light in me honors and is grateful for the light in you. Namaste. Thank you so much for practicing with me, and I will see you on your mat next time. Bye.